Okay. So today we are going to add an additional domain controller to an existing domain. Okay, we have a domain called google.com. Okay, and my very first domain controller, my root domain controller name is dc001, right? And I'm going to add a new server called server01 to the existing domain called google.com. Correct na? So I have just built the server and kept it ready to avoid the time or to save the time, in fact. Okay, now let me go to the command prompt and check what is my server name. I can type a command called host name, and that shows the current name of the computer or the server. See, my computer name is, it is Windows-GMT 6B726215. It is not as per the standard. It is the default name which comes when we build the virtual machine, right? Let me check whether the IP address is added or not. Okay, IP address, ipconfig slash all is the command will show you the IP address of the computer. And if you see here, the IP address of the computer is, oh, it doesn't have, okay. It has got the IP address. See, it is auto configuration IP4 means it is the IP address which is given by the computer. See, APIPA is there. 169.254.207.17 is there. It is the automatic private IP address. If you get the IP address with a series called 169 dot, if the IP address start with 169, that means such kind of IP address we call it as APIPA. Anyway, I'll explain you better in the IP address class. For now, you just consider that this is an IP address given by the operating system. Okay, that is why it is 169 is there. Okay, so what I will do, let me add the IP address now. Before I add the IP address, I'll go to the root domain controller and I'll see what is the IP address of the root domain controller. Because since I'm going to add the additional domain controller, okay, I would like to add in the same range of address. What I will do, I'll just change one number here and there for the newly building additional domain controller. Okay, ipconfig. See, it is 192.168.190.30. For server 01, what I will do, I will keep 31. How can I add an IP address to a computer? How to add an IP address to a computer, guys? You have to run a command called ncpa.cpl to open the network interface card of the computer. So this Ethernet 0 is there, na? It is the network interface card of a computer. So this is the device which holds the IP address of the computer, whether the IP address or the MAC address. The address of a computer will be holded by the Ethernet card only. Physical address also there in the network interface card only, and the IP address is also there in the network interface card only. Okay, so that is one type where you can run the command. Another one is you can click on this computer symbol, unidentified network exclamation symbol is there, na? This one. You can right click on this computer symbol, click on the open network and sharing option, go to the change adapter settings. Okay, see, I have to do 4 clicks to reach here. Correct, na? That is why I always prefer to go with the command prompts, because command prompts will give you confidence and it will save the time also. Okay, so now let me click on the Ethernet 0, right click and go to properties of it. Okay, so once you go to the properties, you have to click on this Internet Protocol version 4, guys. These are all the very basic things. That is why if you practice at home, all this will be done by yourself only. So you get more confidence. So you will know when you install a computer or a server in the office, right? What are all the basic things you have to do? If you don't know how to rename a computer, if you don't know how to assign an IP address, if you don't know how to check the computer name, if you don't know how to check the IP address, what is the use? How will they call you as a software engineer? Correct, na? You cannot. You will not be. Okay, so now let me add the IP address. So it was like this, obtain an IP address automatically. That is why that 169 series came there. So what I will do, server means we have to add the IP address manually. See, if you keep the obtain an IP address automatically, whatever IP address you will be getting, na, that will be getting released. Say for example, now 192.168. 190.30 came if you keep obtain an IP address automatically. So what happens after 2 3 days, that 30 can become 35 or 40 also. Means the same IP address will not come when you keep the first IP address, first option. The obtain an IP address automatically once you keep that, na, the IP address will be dynamic. Means there is no static IP, no single IP will be coming to that computer every time. Even sometimes, even if you restart the computer also, the IP address will get changed. If that is the case, imagine you have configured an application using the IP address. You will go to browser and type www.192.168.190.30 or 172.168.190.30. If the IP address got changed to 35, that application will not work. There is an impact. That is why what we will do for the servers, we always go with the static IP address. No matter what kind of server it is, whether it is an application server or whether it is an infrastructure server, no matter what server it is, when somebody call you as a server, that server will have the static IP address only. That IP address is same for the lifetime of the computer. Like how we have our names, na, we whenever during the birth they'll give the name till we go, the same name will be there, correct now, the same Aadhaar card number will be there, means that is lifetime. Same way, if you assign the IP address statically, that will be there for the lifetime of the server. Okay, so how to do that? Click on the use following IP address, add 192.168.190.172, na, yeah, 192 only, sorry.
190.
Yeah, 190. I will do there, 30 is there, I'll just keep it 31. Okay, so that I don't have to work on the firewall rules. If I keep the servers in the same subnet or the same range, right, I don't have to work on the firewall rules, because Active Directory to work there are a couple of ports. If you remember, during while I was doing the Active Directory first class, I told you Active Directory uses certain number of ports: 389, 53, 136, correct na, 6248, all those port number I was telling you. Okay, see, those will be, I don't need to open them by default within the network, all everything is opened, allowed, that's why. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just press the tab and the subnet mask automatically populated. If somebody asks you what is subnet mask, you have to tell. Subnet mask will tell you which class this IP address belongs to. I will do maybe next week IP address class, then you'll understand better. But for your information, I'm just telling you. Subnet mask will tell you to which class this IP address belongs to. That's all. And the gateway, gateway means it is the point to which or from which the traffic comes in or goes out of the network. Like you have your door at your home where you used to go out and come in, right? The same thing, same way gateway works. It is a point from which the traffic goes out or comes into the network. That's all. So that is the router IP address by default. So 192.168.190.1. And I told you now DNS address is very very important. See, now already DC001 is there. Okay, in the DC001, if you go to tools, you can see the DNS service installed. Since this DNS is already installed in my DC001, which is having the IP address 192.168.190.30, so this server act as a DNS server because DNS is installed here. So my server 01 is asking me, please add a preferred DNS server. What I will do, since I already have a DNS server or DNS installed in the DC001, the same IP I'll put as a DNS server 168.190.30. And if you see the alternate DNS, right, in the newly building server, which is server 01, that is also going to act as an additional domain controller, correct na? If the domain controller means, if I call this server as a domain controller, and I told you DNS will also automatically get installed there, because Active Directory will not work without the DNS, correct na? That is why I can even add the same IP address 192.168.190.31, which is the IP address of my same server, server 01, as an alternate DNS server, because in this alternate DNS server, in this server 0001, I am also going to install the DNS. Correct. Now later this will act as a add a alternate DNS server. Okay, if you want, you can add, otherwise, you can even leave it blank, no problem. Okay, so just to make the, I mean, avoid the confusion, I will remove this. Okay, you can keep the first domain controller server as the DNS address. If you want alternate, you can keep the same server IP address also, no problem. Or wherever DNS is installed, you can just put two IP address, that is enough. Okay, so okay, fine. My computer now has the IP address assigned. It has got the IP address assigned. Now if I put ipconfig, see, it is showing me 192.168.190.31. If you say ipconfig/all, it will tell you what is the DNS address also. See, DNS server address is also there, 190.30. And if you see, that is not DHCP enabled. See, it is not DHCP enabled. It says no. Means this is the IP address which I have added manually, not the automated one. Okay, so I am good now. Now I want to rename the computer. How to rename? sysdm.cpl. If you type right, you will go to the computer name tab here. Now you see an option called change. Okay, here computer name is there na. You have to change the computer name here. Most of the people, they will just put the name here. This is not the name. This is the computer description. Description means what is this computer will be used for. Okay, I'll show you that also. Okay, this is ADC01 example. It is additional domain, additional domain controller. I'll show you how that will be visible. Okay, but here change, if I go and I'll rename the computer to server 01. Okay, and I will say okay. Now my machine will get restart. Okay, this machine will be getting restarted now. Okay, it will take a while, maybe around 20-30 seconds it will take. Any questions so far? These two are the very key things actually. When you build any server, the first and foremost thing you have to do, you have to change the IP address, make it static. Whether it is a client machine or a server machine, you have to make it static, because that will become practice. After that, once the server got static IP address, then you go and check the name and make the name change as per the standard naming standard. Now let me tell at the rate 123. Okay, in the office you may get calls. Okay, I am not able to browse the internet. Yesterday I was able to browse the internet, and today I am not able to browse the internet. People will raise a ticket. The first and foremost thing what you have to do, you have to go and check the DNS. What DNS address is there? Okay, if you don't have the right DNS, the internet will not work. So to make it easy, what you can do, you always go to the command prompt, or you go to the network interface card, remove the existing IP and select the obtainer IP address dynamically or automatically. So you'll get the new IP address. Another one thing, you can go to command prompt and release the IP address and rename it, so he'll get a new IP. I'll show you all these things when I do the DHCP portion. Okay, so now my server is ready, server 01. Let me quickly go to the command prompt and I'll run a command called hostname. See, it is now renamed as server 01. Okay, and let me check the IP address also. IP address is also added, 192.168.190.31. So I'm good. Now, what is the purpose of this server? What I'm going to do now with this server? Nandini, what I told you?
This additional domain,
Yeah, exactly.
creating additional domain.
Yeah, I'm going to add an additional domain controller to an existing domain. I have a domain called google.com. Correct. Now, if you see here, where in the DC001, okay, you see a domain called google.com. If you go to Active Directory users and computers, okay, here if you see this is google.com, correct, huh? And if you look at the, one second, if you look at the domain controller, you will only have you only have one domain controller. See, default, this is the GC, means it's a global catalog. If it is there in the domain controller, means it is a domain controller. Only one is the DC001, correct. Now I am going to add another domain controller which is an additional domain controller. The name of the additional domain controller is server 01. So how to add the rules? So now this is a server, correct? This is a standalone server, no service is installed in it. If I want to convert this to a domain controller, which role I have to install? Which service or the role I have to install if I want to convert this to a domain controller, guys?
Add roles and features.
Correct. Which role I have to add?
Uh, Active Directory,
Yeah,
users and computers.
exactly. We have to install Active Directory domain services, not users and computers. Once you install Active Directory domains and services, all those things will come. What are those things? All this will come. Active Directory users and computers, domains and trust, sites and services, domains administrative center. All these five options will come when you install the Active Directory domain services (ADDS). Okay. So now let me install the ADDS. To install the ADDS, what you have to do, as you rightly said, you have to go on the Add Roles and Features. I'll click on the Add Roles and Features. I'll wait for the wizard to come. Okay. So I just clicked on it. So let me make it full screen. Oh yeah, yeah. So now let me say next. So I'm clicking on the first option, role based or the feature based installation. Click on the first option. And if you look at my computer name is server 01, correct? And IP address is 192.168.190.131, that is also correct. And the operating system is server 2016 data center operating system. So I'm good. And another thing is I have added the DNS address also, and server computer name also changed, IP address made static, correct, and DNS also have added. So I don't have any obstacle now. So let me say next. Now here which service I have to select?
Active Directory domain service.
Yeah, the second option, the Active Directory
Second.
domain services, I have to click on it. See, once you click on Active Directory domain services, if you read here, it is installing ADLDS tools, Active Directory modules, correct? Now, Active Directory Administrative Center and Active Directory snap-ins. So snap-in means the users and computers, domain trust, all those things will be coming there. Okay. So let me add the feature. Once I add the feature, you can say next. I am not selecting the DNS here. If you see backside, I am not selecting the DNS, but automatically DNS will be installed. You have to see that now. Group policies, once you install the Active Directory, see, I told you, you can control the servers in the centralized store, correct? Now the central store called group policy management, where you can just create a policy and apply the wallpaper or disable the USB pen drive and all, right? This is the console, group policy management console. So that will get installed by default, and I will say next and click on install. See here, I don't have any notification symbol. See, just now came one notification symbol. Means once you are installing the Active Directory domain services role, okay, if you just install it, this computer will not work as a domain controller. I'll show you now. Okay. Even though if you just install the role, it won't act as a domain controller. You have to promote that to a domain controller. Correct, na? So how to do that? You already know, but I'm going to show you one more time. Okay. This one I think we have not recorded in my previous class because that was not recorded properly. Only audio is coming, video was not coming. That is why I'm explaining each and everything there. So let this completed. Let this get completed. So after that probably we can show you. See, now it is completed. Configuration required, installation succeeded on the server 01. And here you have an option called promote this server to a domain controller. Correct, right? Before I do that, I'll close this. I'll go to tools. If you go to tools, since you have installed the Active Directory domain services, whatever options I told you, like administrative center, domains and trust, modules for PowerShell, sites and services, users and computers, and ADSI edit. All the six options you can see here. But if I open Active Directory users and computer, see, it says to manage the users and groups in this computer, use local users and groups. Means it is not, see, it is not still Active Directory. If you see, Active Directory users and computer is not there, into mark is there, correct na? So it is not it not got promoted yet actually. Okay, so what we will do now, let me click on this notification. So if you, the notification tells you the same thing, configuration required for Active Directory domain services at server 01, and to promote this server, click here, promote this server to a domain controller. It's a hyperlink, click on that. So if you click on that, then it will take you to the actual wizard. Okay, let me close this. What happened? Yeah, so let me open the server manager here. Sorry for that. So click on this notification, promote this server to a domain controller, and you see the same option, the first three options, correct, right? The previously you saw the same three options. Now you have to explain me the meaning of each line item here. The first line item, it says add a domain controller to an existing domain. What is the meaning of it? Guys, speak out. Hello.
Google sir.
We are adding the server domain to the already existing domain called DC00.
Exactly. See, you already have a domain called not DC001, that's a domain controller. Domain is google.com. Okay. Google is the domain here.
Okay.
Google.com is the domain. DC00 is the domain controller. One of the, see, when I say Indian Army, it has got n number of soldiers, correct, right? Not one soldier. So one soldier is one domain controller here. When I say army, that is entire troop. Correct, right? The same thing here. When I say domain, it's google.com. When I say domain controller, each and every controller, one server is called as a domain controller. Okay. To, to control the entire domain, one server is there. So that is minimum one server is there. If you need multiple locations, if you have your office, you can have those many number of domain controllers also. Fine. So will this applicable in our scenario? Will this applicable? Is it applicable in our scenario? Do we already have a domain?
Yes, sir.
Yes
Yes.
sir.
What is the domain name?
Google.
Google.com.
Google.com.
Yeah, so first one is applicable. Second one, add a new domain to an existing forest. Are we going to add a new domain to existing forest?
No.
No, we are not going to add a new domain. If you select the second option, that is the child domain controller you're going to add. Okay, maybe I'll show you tomorrow that one. So now let me click on the first option because it is an additional domain, add a domain controller, additional domain controller to an existing domain. You already have a domain, you are going to add an additional domain controller. So the first option will be good. What is the domain? Tell me, what is the domain name?
Google.com.
Google.com.
.com.
You have to type the domain name called google.com. If you just put Google also, it won't detect because only Google, you will never call it as a domain. Domain means it should have both prefix and suffix. Google should also be there and the suffix should also be there. Google.com, and then select. See, if I say select, it is asking me to enter the username and password of the domain called google.com. Now let me put Google here, Google, Google/administrator, PASSWORD at that 123. Okay, if you now hit enter, it will be resolved to the domain called google.com. Now it will be, wait, it will come. Here you will get the domain called Google. It is trying to see retrieving the domains in the forest. The forest name is google.com. If it is a single forest, single domain. Okay. If it is multiple domains, then it's a different thing. Okay, select. Not happening. 1 minute. Let me check. Something is wrong with this. It is giving some exclamatory. Let me check what it is. Adapter settings. Oh, okay, okay, I got it. What is the problem? Maybe here settings, the same thing would be there that we did the last week. Bridged. It is correct. It is not bridged. See, it is bridged. Correct. It should be NAT. If you remember, I was not able to connection. Let me do that 1 second. If I go to the DC001, my DC001 should have the communication with DC server 01. ping ping. How to check the connectivity from one server to another server? You should use a command called ping ping and the IP address 192.168.190.31. See, it is not having the connectivity. Similarly, I'll go to server 01 and I'll check from here. ping 192.168.190.30 continuously trying to ping. It is not having the communication. Now what I'll do, I'll go to server, go to settings, and here the network adapter is there, na? I will make it as NAT and apply OK. Now sorry, the problem is I have not given the space there. Now you can see it will start pinging. Wait for a minute, it will be start pinging. We should establish the connectivity and all, right? So it will take some time. Let me go and check here.
You didn't give NAT.
I think it is. See, it is NAT is here. It is
In
NAT
server.
in the server one, na?
Uh, you selected host.
Given host.
Network. Oh, correct. Host only.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. See now, thank you. See now it start pinging. Just see, this is DC001 and this is see server 001 is start having the connectivity. Here also DC, see DC also start. It is talking to 31, which is my server 01. If I go to server 01, it is talking to 90, which is my DC01. So I have the communication now. So now let me close this one. Now let me close this one and type select Google. So we'll do one thing, go back. Let me cancel this. Go here, freshly click on promote this server to a domain controller, and I should select the first option, right? Because that is the additional domain controller. Domain name is google.com. If I say select, now it is asking google/administrator and the password is password at the rate 123. Password at the rate 123. I'm right. So let me say OK, and see now you will see a domain name populated there. See, you can see it. Google came now here. Means it is
Yes.
having the connectivity now. You have to select that google.com because you are going to add an additional domain to the google.com. If it is multiple domain, all the multiple domains will come here, like india.google.com, uk.google.com, germany.google. Everything will come and list here. To which domain you want to add, you have to select that domain. Okay. So in my case, it is google.com. Okay, and say next. That's all. Rest everything is same. If you see, this also it was asking when you promoted a new domain controller. Now freshly, that time also it was asking this DSRM password, directory service restore mode password. It was asking. Here also it is asking password at the rate 123, password at the rate 123. Okay, say next. Say DNS delegation. I'm not going to do the DNS delegation. DNS delegation means instead of this server, you are asking some dedicated server to act as a DNS server. You are delegating that DNS things to some dedicated server. I'm not doing that because I want this server to act as a DNS server. That's why. Okay. Say next. And it is telling specify install from media. Okay. Or replicate from which domain controller. In your case, you can select any domain controller in the existing domain, or you can even select specifically from which domain controller. Since in my environment, in my domain, only one domain controller is already there, which is DC001, and I'm telling to replicate everything from the DC001. So when I do that, all the information which is there in the DC001, here in the tools, if you see, look at all this India, BNG, admin, inside the IT, there are some users, everything will be replicated to the server 01, which is newly building server. Okay, I'll say next. I'll select the DC001 and it is now asking me to select the database of the Active Directory, just keep the default one and say next. Next. And now it is verifying the prerequisites. So let this verify the prerequisites. Yeah, see, it is now done. Why it is shut down? Not sure what is. See, the prerequisites are met. Okay, it is, see, all the prerequisite checks are passed successfully. Okay, click install to begin the installation. Okay, so it is fine. Let me install it now. It will take a while, 1 or 2 minutes it will take. Once the installation is done, see, checking the domain upgrade status, you have to read here. See, waiting for the DNS installation to finish means it is installing the DNS now. Though I have not selected, it is installing because AD will never work without the DNS. Okay, fine. So installation to finish, the DNS one. See, changing the membership of this computer, domain membership, it is now part of the, it will be part of the google.com. See, configuring the local computers and all. Schema means the Active Directory partitions it is creating, now replicating from root domain controller to the additional domain controller. See, everything is done. Kerberos policies updates happening. Configuring the DNS server service on this computer means installation is done. Now it is configuring. It is creating all the records in the server 01. And now see, it is getting restarted automatically. I'm not doing anything. I'm just closing this windows, but it gets restarted automatically. Okay, so it will take a while. It is restarting.
Like additional domain control will be used, sir.
Yeah. So now my computer is server 01 is now no more a server, it is a domain controller because I have installed the Active Directory and I have promoted to an additional domain controller, and you can see that here. Correct? Huh? Server 01, now it is telling me I am in Google domain, okay, and log in as an administrator. So Google/administrator. Let me log in, password @123. See, the installation is now completed. So I'll show you the console. Whatever console you were able to see in the DC001 here. See, uh, let me show like this. See, built-in computers, domain controller, foreign security principles, India, manage service account, and users. Total, how many are there? Seven folders are there. Okay. Let me go to the server 01. How can I check which options I have to open in order to open the Active Directory? Which one I should open to see the Active Directory, guys? How will I open Active Directory? Console. Anybody? You have to go to Tools
Tools.
and you have to open the Active Directory users and computers. Okay. If you don't know this one, how will you open? See, now google.com, I am expanding google.com. I told 7 folders. See, built-in computers, domain controllers. See, built-in computer domain controllers. Then foreign security principles, India, managed service accounts and users. Same, foreign security principles, India, managed service accounts, users. All the folders are same here, correct?
Yes.
Now let me
Yes.
expand this India. If I expand India in the DC01, you see BNG Dell Hyderabad. Now go to server 01 and expand India. See, same folders, Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, same folders. Let me expand Bangalore, BNG, and you see 4 folders, admin HR IT sales, here also same. See, admin HR IT sales. Inside the IT, you have total 5 objects. Okay, In that 4 user accounts, one IT admin is the group. Let me go here and open the IT. See, 5 objects, 4 users and 1 IT admins. Now I'll show you how quickly the replication happens. In the server 01, I'll create a user called ser, ser01. Okay, and ser01 google.com password at the rate 123 password at the rate 123. User should not change the password. This is a testing purpose. Finish. Where I've created the user account, I have created in the server 01 under the OU called India Bangalore IT. Correct na? Where I created in the server 1. Let me go to DC001. Let me refresh the same folder here. See, can you see? Now the user got replicated to DC001 and the same folder called IT. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me disable this user server 01 in the where it is in the DC001. Disable the user account and you see the graphics got changed. Server, correct na? Let me quickly go here in the server and refresh. It will take some time, no problem. See, it is disabled. So why am I showing you all these things? When you create any objects, right, or the classes, or whenever you modify anything, even if you reset password in the DC001, within fraction of seconds, the password will be replicated to DC0, the server 01 as well, the other domain controller. Now, if you want to see how many domain controllers are there, you can come to this domain controller OU and see. See, earlier only DC001 was there, na, in the domain controller OU. Now you can see the server 01 also. This is one way of looking at the domain controller. Another one is you have a command. Go to command prompt, net dom query, sorry, nl test hyphen dc list google.com. 1 minute. nl test slash dc list google.com. Try this. One minute. It's been long time. I missed the command. 1 minute. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So what I did, I just 1 second. Let me come from the beginning. I wanted to see the FSMO roles are in the what are all the domain controllers holding the FSMO roles. Okay. If you look at when I run this command, one more time. Why it is not coming? It will take some time. See, it is listed all the FSMO roles. So I told you there are 5 FSMO roles. These two, the first two, the schema master and the domain naming master are the forest wide role. Another 3, PDC, RID, pool manager and infrastructure master are the domain wide role. Correct? Na? And all are there in the DC001 server only because DC001 was the first domain controller, the root domain controller which you installed first time, right? So that is why all the roles are added in the same, the very first domain controller. So Microsoft will not recommend you to have single server all the FSMO roles. You have to split like 2 roles in one domain controller, another 3 roles in a different domain controller, or you can even have one role in one domain controller if you have 5 domain controller or 10 domain controller. Okay. So now let us understand how can we move the FSMO roles from one server to another server. What we will do, I will keep this forest wide role in the DC001 and I'll move these 3 roles which are domain wide role to the server 01. Okay. I
Hello?
think, yeah. Any question?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
In server 01, also that FSM roles available, right?
Server 01 also?
In server 01 also FSM roles available, right?
Yeah, in server 01 only FSM roles are there now. No, no, no. We don't have now. Now in the server 01 we don't have. See, now let me check in the server 01. It's a good point.
Because
See, I'm
that is also server, right? That is also domain control.
that is also domain control. That's what I'm telling. Even
Okay.
though you have 100 domain controller, domain is same google.com.
Okay.
It's a single domain. When I Please go on mute if you are not speaking. Okay. See, when I say this is when I say domain, it is google.com. When I say army, it is army, Indian army. Correct? Huh? In that, maybe you have 100 battalions. Yeah, matlab, different locations. You have different teams. Correct? Na? So the same thing it is. When I say domain, it is google.com. When I say FSMO roles, this FSMO roles for the entire domain, not for the domain controllers. But there are 5 roles. These 5 roles can be there in a single server, or it can be there in one role in a one server. So that's what I'm telling. If you look at, I am in the server 01 only. See, host name, if I give host name, the server name is server 1. But the FSM roles are not there in the server 1. They are in the DC001 only, because the very first domain controller is DC001. Now, what I will do, I will move 3 roles, which is PDC, RID, and infrastructure master, these 3 roles to the newly built domain controller, which is server 01. Okay, how to do that? Let me show you. What you have to do, you always have to go to the destination server. Means now you want to move the roles from DC001 to server 01. You have to go to the server 01, to which server you have to move the roles. Go to the server 001 and go to this tools and Active Directory users and computers. Open this Active Directory users and server console and right click on this google.com domain. Right click on this Google domain and you see here operations masters. Can you guys see the operations masters here? These
Yes.
operations masters are
Yes, sir.
nothing but the FSMO roles. I'll click on that. And you see 3 roles there. See, RID master, PDC emulator, infrastructure master. And if you look at RID master, it says the current operation master is DC001. To transfer the operation master to role to the following computer, server 01, if you have 10 domain controller in the environment, all the 9 will be listed here. If you click on here, a drop down will come. You have to select which server you wanted to move. Since here only 2 domain controllers is there, one is already DC001, the current role holder, remaining one is server 01. If you want to move, you can just click on change. Are you sure want to transfer the RID master role? Yes. And now, if you see, current operation master is server 001 only, and you are there in the server 001. You are there in the server 01. Now, let me go to this and check the FSMO roles, whether the RID master, now it is RID master DC001, correct? See, it is RID master DC001, correct, right? Now, let me check the FSMO now. If we can see that RID will be changed to server01.google.com. It should come. Are you guys following me?
Yes, Manju.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, it came now. And if you look at schema still is there in DC001. I have not touched schema. Domain naming master I have not touched. Correct na? PDC I have not touched. But RID it says it is in server01.google.com. Now Sandeep, for your question, you can see now we have one FSMO roles in the server 01. Remaining 4 FSMO roles are still there in the DC001. It is not like that. If you install one domain controller, all the 5 roles are there in that one domain controller, ADC. If you have 10 domain controller, all the 10 domain controller will not have 5 domain FSMO roles. There are only 5 FSMO roles. Those 5 can be have one server in 5 server, all 5 in one server or 2 in one and 3 in one. That is left to you. Microsoft tells don't keep all the 5 roles in one server. That's all. You should keep at least in 2 servers. Left maximum left to you. If you want to keep it one in 5 servers, it is left to you. Okay, now let us quickly move the PDC and infrastructure also to the same server. Okay, let me go to PDC. Let me change it. Yes, I want to move it. It got changed. Infrastructure master, click on change. Yes, the operations master role was successfully transferred. See, now if I run FSMO query, you see the difference. See, if you look at all the domain-wide roles, which is PDC, RID, infrastructure, all are there in the server 01 now. Sandeep, you got it now?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that is how. Means now if you create server 02, probably you can move this RID and infrastructure to server 02. Then when you run the netdom query FSMO, it says two are from DC 001, PDC is from server 01, and RID and infra will be from server 02. Like that. Okay, that is how. Now let us also move this domain naming master and schema master to the server 01. Okay, so go to server 01. Now, if to move the domain wide roles, you have to go to Active Directory users and computers. Okay, and to move the forest wide role, you have to go to Active Directory sites and services. There also only one will be there, another one is there. Schema will be there in a different place. I'll show you. Okay, click on this. Okay, click on this. 1 minute. Sorry, not sites and services, domain centers. Sorry, tools. Go to this Active Directory domains and trust. Yeah, you have to go there. Now click on this Google. Sorry, Active Directory domains and trust, and you see Operations Master. Click on this Operations Master, and now you see the Operations Master. Okay, means domain naming Operations Master. See here, domain naming Operations Master is there in DC001, and if you want to move to server 001, click on change. Are you sure you want to transfer the operations master role to a different computer? Yes. The operations master was successfully transferred. Okay. Now if you close this, now go and check the FSMO roles. Now the below 4 FSMO roles are there in the server 01. See? Only one role is there in DC001 because remaining 4 roles you have moved to server 01. Correct? Now,
Yes.
the last one is the schema master, which is the very important role. Okay, but immediate impact will be there with the PDC, but not with the schema. But schema is the main Active Directory database, right? You cannot simply play with that. What you have to do? You have to go to command prompt and you have to run one command called regsvr32 schmgmt.dll. It's a DLL file. You have to register it. 1 minute. regsvr32 schm double m schema management.dll. Okay, why it
Manju,
is
I think after 32 you have to give space.
maybe let me check. You are right. See, after 32, I should give a space, and now it got registered. DLL register servers in schema mgmt.dll. Okay, so now I am good. Now I have to go to MMC. I would have shown you that there, but that's okay. MMC. Okay, here add remove snap-ins. If you don't run that, na schema management, so this Active Directory schema will not be visible here. If you have not run the schema management regsvr32 space mgmt, right, the schema mgmt, right, if you are not running that command, if you are not registering it, it will not be visible. The schema master will not be visible in this console. Now add OK. Fine. Now double click on this, right click, and you see here operations master. See, now it is in PDC00 DC001. Okay, And okay, where am I? Server. Okay, so change if I do.
Both will be a same domain, right?
Yeah, it is something. 1 minute. Wait, let me go here. No, that is something. Okay, I got it. Maybe. Yeah, I can cancel this. Maybe change here. Connect to change domain. Change. See, change domain. Active Directory domain controller is there. Click on that and go to this one, server 01. Okay, now if you just go to operations master, see, it is changed now. Okay, so what you can do, you can just change the domain controller here. If you have, sometimes what happens, the same domain controller will be connected. Now, you can click on the Active Directory domain controller change. You can either select DC001 as a current or the server 01 as the current. So, I'm in the server 001. Fine. Now, right click on the Active Directory schema, go to Operations Master and see now it is change. Yes, yes, close. Now, if you run the command, right, net dom query FSMO. M is missing. See, now everything is server 01 only, all the 5 roles. Correct, na? This is how you will play with the Active Directory FSMO roles. Let me move it back. See, now I want to move it back to PDC DC001 only. If I go to Operations Master, both are there in the server 001 only. Okay, what I will do to come out of this, I'll right click on the Active Directory schema server and I can change the domain controller to DC001. I will select now. Okay, it is changing. Snap in. Now if I right click, go to Operations Master, see, now the source is DC001, destination is source is server 1, destination is DC001. Change it. Yes, I'm done. Go back. I don't want this. I want to check at one time. Say okay. Now go to sites and services. So domains and trust. Go to operations master. Okay, here also see it is server 01, server 01. How can I make? Right click on this. Change the active directory domain controller. Select the DC001. Okay. Now right click on that. Go to operations master. See server 1 and DC001. Make it change. Yes, done, close. Now I am, as per the Microsoft recommendation, the first 2 roles, the forest wide role are there in the one domain controller, which is my root domain controller. Another 3 are there in the additional domain controller. Okay. Any questions so far, guys?
Is there any limit to create additional domain controller,
No
Manju?
limit. You can have 100, 200. I have worked in an environment where we had 450 domain controllers. Okay, see, now it is as per the standard. Microsoft tells the same way. Either you keep forest wide in a single server, domain wide roles in a single server, or you can keep schema in a one server, remaining domain controller is in a four server in a different server. I mean, it is left to you. Microsoft will only tell at least keep the roles in 2 servers at least, not in single. What if, see what happens now? Say for example, you have a single server and this server gets crashed. You don't have any backup option only. The same thing what happens if you have roles in the 2 different servers, whatever server got crashed, no, we can we can seize the roles in a different server. Say for example, you have two like this. Okay, you have schema master and the domain naming master is there in one server DC001. Okay, in the server 01 you have 3 roles. Okay, imagine the server 01 gets crashed. Now when you check the domain FSMO roles, it shows 2 from the DC001 and another 3 from the server 001. Okay, so but server 01 is not coming up. What you can do, you can add additional domain controller server 02, and there is an option called seizing. You have to go to the command prompt, and there you can forcibly pull the FSMO roles from that newly building server. That is all like L3, L4 level for you. Not, no, I mean, you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So that's all for the day I wanted to tell. Let me stop the recording and then I'll take questions if you have. Okay.